My name is Danica Morrison, and I'm 32 years old. Tonight, my living room is a small theater, a coffee table of cream envelopes that should have become wedding invitations, a candle that smells like neroli and honey, and a quiet I used to call peace. I flip one invitation over and picture the line that would have sat beneath a June date at Riverside Gardens, Mr. and Mrs., and then nothing. Blank. A space where a decision never landed. I didn't grow up worshiping tradition. I grew up watching my parents build a last name into a shelter. Morrison meant we moved together. It was on the softball jerseys my mom washed late at night. It was the signature Dad pressed on permission slips and the casserole dish he returned to neighbors. I always imagined the family I'd build would share a name, one roof, one table, one word, stitched across all our mail. I wasn't even rigid about which name, as long as we chose one. Hyphenate, pick mine, pick his, file the professional alias later. There are 100 ways to be modern and still be a unit. Jason called it old-fashioned, the same way you'd call a dress boxy. He's 29, sweet when he wants to be, ambitious when there's an audience, and endlessly allergic to the word together when it costs him anything. Early in our engagement, I brought up the name conversation the way you test a railing before you lean on it. He laughed. Danny, nobody does that anymore. It's 2025. Nobody? I said lightly. Not even us? He sighed at the ceiling. I've built my career as Jason Hale. That's my identity. What I meant was, I want our kids to feel a seam run through us, something you can trace with a finger and know you belong. What he heard was, you must erase yourself. We could hyphenate, I offered, or professionally keep Hale. Legally we share. No, he cut in. Full stop. The weeks turned into a ritual of near misses. Every compromise I laid out, hyphenating, legal versus social, choosing one name either way, got brushed off like lint. We'll figure the kids later, he'd say, which is how people punt hard things into a future where the bill is double. The night it truly shifted, a violinist was threading something vintage across a room full of toasts. Megan, yes, that Megan, the ex-girlfriend who'd since declared herself so over it, was throwing an engagement party. Candles warmed everyone into versions of themselves they prefer. Even Jason's smile had better posture. When he poured me a glass of wine, he did it like a host presenting a trophy. Megan tapped a spoon to a glass. To love that evolves, she announced, and everyone cheered. 2 hours later, Jason had found a groove. He'd been wittier than usual, buoyed by friends who loved the show. Then Megan steered us somewhere sharp. So, she grinned, eyes sliding to me. Word is there's a surname negotiation? Jason rolled his eyes. Danica's still living in the Stone Age. Laughter, a chorus of it, eager to be on the right side of history. She actually thinks I should take her boring last name, he added, into the laughter. Morrison, like the grocery store. Even Megan laughed. Ouch! It was a joke. It was just jokes. I smiled like a woman who's used to balancing plates, but the part of me that keeps ledgers wrote down. He turned the thing that matters to me into entertainment. On the drive home, I said, deliberately soft, that was humiliating. Please, he replied. It was just jokes. You need to get over this name thing. It's not happening. There are moments we pretend are small because admitting their size means admitting we're standing at the edge of something that will cost. I looked out the window at a city that keeps secrets and said, then maybe the wedding isn't happening. He laughed. Actually laughed. Don't be dramatic. The venue's booked. Deposits are paid. My suit's already ordered. You're not calling off our wedding over something this stupid. What I heard was a contract. My comfort is non-negotiable. Your dignity is optional. So I made a different contract with myself. Monday morning, I called Riverside Gardens. The woman on the line was kind in the way people are when they give you bad news you asked for. Our deposit, $8,000, was non-refundable. Clearly stated in the contract Jason had waived off as standard stuff. I'd saved that money over 3 years. I canceled the photographer, $2,500 deposit, the DJ, $800, and the florist, $300. I wrote the totals on a yellow notepad, $11,600. I didn't tell Jason. Not yet. The universe has a way of tugging the same thread twice. Jason came home the next day with a binder fat with tabs, the kind people build when they treat planning like an identity. He spread spreadsheets across our table. Menu options, centerpiece ideas, playlist tiers. Also, my cousin Brittany wants to bring her new boyfriend. Add a +1? Sure, I said, sipping my tea. That's it? Suspicion in his smile. Your wedding? I said, steady. Your choice. Our wedding, Danny. He flicked a page. Don't be weird. He talked for 2 hours, performing decisiveness. He liked the reclaimed wood arbor, loathed lilies, funeral flowers, babe, demanded an outdoor dance floor, and insisted on no slow songs before 9. I agreed with everything. He grew unsettled by how easy I became. The thing about performances is they don't know what to do when the audience stops clapping. Then his phone lit up. Riverside Gardens. Hello, he answered, casual. Yes, this is Jason. A pause. What? No, that's impossible. I watched the color leave his face like water draining. He hung up slowly, turned to me, and asked too carefully, What did you do? I folded the corner of a page. I respected your choice. What choice? You don't want to share a name. I don't want the wedding. His hands opened, then closed. You canceled our venue without telling me? My money, my choice. Isn't that how this works now? His mouth actually stammered. It's a talent I'd never seen. But the deposit, non-refundable. Yes, I said, that's $8,000. He blinked. 8, Danny, that's... Actually, I said, because the clean cut is kinder, $11,600 if you count the other vendors. He sank into the couch like someone unplugged the room. You threw away $11,000 because I don't want to change my name? No, I said. I spent $11,000 to stop making a joke of myself. You humiliated me in front of your friends. You shot down every compromise. You made it clear your individual brand mattered more than our family. It's just a name. Exactly, I said gently. Just a name. So why was it worth wrecking our respect over? He stared at the binder like it could reverse time. Anger bloomed, the quiet, careful kind. My parents are flying in next month. We sent save the dates. My suit is being altered. I know, I said. We should have thought about that before you made me a punchline at Megan's party. He grabbed his phone with the energy of a man who believes logistics can bully love into place. I'm calling Riverside back. We'll pay another deposit. With what money? I asked. I'm not paying twice for a wedding where the groom doesn't even want to share a family name. Then I'll pay for it. I laughed, soft, surprised at the sound. Jason, you have $3,000 in savings and $18,000 in student loans you ignore like a plant you don't water. Good luck. He stared at me like I'd betrayed a script only he had read. He moved to the kitchen, then back, restless as a trapped echo. You're impossible, he said finally. I'm consistent, I replied. That's different. He tried one more maneuver, voice threaded with the promise he thinks women can't resist. We can fix this. You know Megan's good with events. We can... Megan, I said, tasting the word. Your ex. He flinched. We dated for 5 minutes. Long enough for her to host our humiliation. He swallowed, and for a second I saw a boy under the man, someone who hadn't learned the difference between attention and love. What do you want from me, Danny? Nothing, I said. That's the point. Later, after the binder was shut and the candle went out, I sat at the table and wrote the figure again on my yellow pad. $11,600. Numbers stack like promises. They also stack like lessons. I underlined it once, then wrote a smaller number beneath, 1, and next to it, name. Tomorrow would bring the chorus. Explanations. Threats dressed as concern. A parade of people who love Jason and therefore believe I owe them a version of myself that doesn't make him uncomfortable. But tonight was only the hinge. The door was about to swing. I could already feel the draft. Just a name, I whispered. The quiet answered, exactly. When people say silence is loud, they've never heard Jason's version. 2 full days passed where he barely looked at me, drifting through our apartment like a shadow in a pressed shirt. The sound of his spoon against his cereal bowl was a verdict. The way he clicked his laptop shut when I entered the room was a sentence. He thought punishment by absence would bend me back into his orbit. It didn't. By day 3, silence snapped. He exploded. Do you even understand what you did, Danny? You embarrassed me. My parents are humiliated. Everyone's asking questions. I didn't flinch. You embarrassed yourself at Megan's party. I just stopped paying for the performance. His jaw tightened. He called his mom right there in the kitchen, speakerphone on, as if summoning a witness. Diane's voice came through syrup sweet. Danica, sweetheart, Jason tells me you canceled everything? That's dramatic. Dramatic is mocking your fiancé in front of your ex, I said. Diane's sweetness cracked into steel. It's 2025. Women don't have to change their names anymore. And men, I replied evenly, don't have to marry women who mock them in public. The line went quiet for a beat. Then a clipped, I'll call you back, and she hung up. An hour later, his father called, Robert, ex-Marine, voice like gravel. Danica, you're going to fix this today. No, Robert, I'm not. That's my son you're disrespecting. Your son disrespected me first, and publicly, over a name. Silence, then a low growl. If you won't cooperate, I'll come over there myself. I have cameras, I said calmly, and restraining orders are easy to file. Click, another silence. By Thursday, Jason switched tactics. He tried a different weapon, community. I came home to find my living room rearranged like a stage set. On the couch sat Ashley, his sister, legs crossed, arms folded. Megan, yes, again, smiling like a host, and cousin Brittany, eyes shining with rehearsed sympathy. Jason stood in the middle like a moderator. Danica, he announced, we're here because we love you and want to help you see reason. Ashley started, voice sharp. You're being incredibly controlling. Forcing a man to change his name? Patriarchal oppression in reverse. I looked at her, steady. I'm not forcing anything. Jason is free to keep his name, and I am free not to marry him. Megan jumped in, her tone faux soothing. You're throwing away 4 years over something that doesn't even matter. I turned to her. If it doesn't matter, Megan, why won't he take mine? She blinked, caught, lips pressing shut. Brittany leaned forward, hand on her heart. Jason's been crying for days. He loves you. He loves the wedding. He loves the idea of you two. The idea of me, I repeated. Not me. If he loved me, he wouldn't have mocked me at your party, Megan. Jason shifted, shoulders tense. Stop being so stubborn, Danny. Just agree, and we can move forward. It's just a name. The words burned cold. I looked at all of them, one by one, and let the silence stretch until it snapped taut. Exactly. Just a name, which means if it's small, he should have compromised months ago, and if it's big enough to ruin us, then I was right to mend it. Ashley rolled her eyes. Megan sighed. Brittany whispered, think of the family. I am, I said. That's why I'm doing this. Jason's face contorted. Anger, desperation, confusion, all braided together. He wanted me to cave, to backpedal, to apologize for making a choice he thought was his alone. Instead, I stood. This meeting, I said quietly, is over. And just like that, the chorus fell silent. The door closed behind them with a click that felt less like sound, more like a seal. A line had been drawn, not in sand, but in stone. And yet, I knew this wasn't the end. Jason had too much pride, too much performance instinct to let the audience go. The next act was coming. The question wasn't if, it was how loud. The next act didn't arrive quietly. It announced itself in the glow of Jason's phone screen, in hashtags and captions crafted to wound. He'd gone to Instagram. A carefully staged selfie of him looking forlorn, captioned, When love gets strangled by control. My ex-fiancé canceled our wedding because I wanted to keep my own name. Modern women. Can you relate? By morning, the comments split like a jury. Half his friends parroted the chorus. Toxic control, fragile ego, let men be men. But strangers weighed in too. Wait, she paid all the deposits and you're calling her controlling? One wrote. Another. Sounds like you wanted a party, not a partnership. The post vanished 2 days later. Jason doesn't like mirrors unless they flatter. When Megan reached out, I wasn't surprised. She suggested coffee. Just us girls. Her smile across the cafe table was both nervous and smug. Danny, she began, stirring her latte too long. I know things got out of hand at my party, but Jason's spiraling. He's been calling vendors, trying to get refunds by saying you went crazy. Nobody believes him, of course. You were calm, professional, but he's telling people you're abusive. I set my cup down. I've saved every email, every contract, every text. If he wants to play legal, I'll let the receipts speak. Her eyes flickered. She wasn't used to me being unshaken. You know, he really does love you, she said softly. No, I replied. He loved the idea of me. A stable woman with savings who'd bankroll his wedding fantasy, while he gave nothing in return. Her silence told me she knew I wasn't wrong. The true showstopper came later that week. Jason arrived at our apartment with papers. Not divorce papers. Something stranger. "I've drafted a compromise," he announced, unfolding the pages like they were peace treaties. It was a name agreement contract. Bullet points, terms, clauses. He keeps his last name legally. He uses mine socially when convenient. Future kids get hyphenated names. I pay for a scaled-down $15,000 wedding. We tell people we mutually postponed for financial reasons. I apologize to his parents for overreacting. I read it twice. Then I laughed. A short, sharp laugh that startled even me. "Jason," I said, "this might be the most delusional thing you've ever handed me." His voice cracked with wounded pride. "It's compromise." "No," I said. "It's you saving face while I foot the bill again." Compromise would have been months ago, when I suggested hyphenating, when I offered options, when I begged you not to turn my family name into a punchline at Megan's party. He bristled. "So that's it? You're walking away over nothing?" "If it's nothing," I said evenly, "why did you need a contract?" For a moment, the performance faltered. His eyes darted, his mouth opened and closed. Then he shoved the papers into his bag, muttering about ungrateful women and how nobody modern thinks like me. When the door slammed, the walls trembled, but I didn't, because the truth was solid now. He didn't want marriage. He wanted optics. A script where he played the progressive rebel against a controlling fiancé. A wedding as theater. But I had stopped being the audience. And actors without an audience start to unravel. Jason didn't unravel in silence. He unraveled with volume. By Tuesday, he showed up with a new pitch, voice raw with rehearsed urgency. "Okay, hear me out. Megan's backyard. Next Saturday. Small ceremony, no vendors needed. Her boyfriend can officiate. He got ordained online. I'll wear my suit, you wear your dress. Done." I stared at him. "You've already told people, haven't you?" His silence was answer enough. "You're trying to save face," I said. "Not us, just yourself." He tried charm then. Soft eyes, boyish smile. "I'll even take your last name. Morrison. Fine, you win." But it wasn't a win, it was desperation wrapped in costume. "No," I said, "because now I know you'd only do it under duress. That's not a choice, it's a performance." He slammed the counter, muttering about stubbornness and how I'd regret this. But the shift came not from Jason, but from Diane. His mother asked to speak privately when she stopped by with Ashley. She cornered me in the kitchen, hands folded around a mug she hadn't sipped. "Danica," she said, lowering her voice, "I'm going to be straight with you. Jason's my son, and I love him. But he screwed up. He's always been stubborn. We spoiled him being the youngest. He got his way too often." I blinked, not expecting candor. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because that $11,600 you lost? That was his wake-up call. Best investment you'll ever make." Her words hit like a verdict I hadn't asked for. I studied her face, but she wasn't mocking, just tired. When she left, Jason stormed out after her, muttering about betrayal. But Diane's voice lingered longer than his footsteps. Later that week, my own mother called. "Danny," she said, "I heard about the deposit, your grandmother's ring, the one I was saving for you. We'll go to Trevor now when he's ready." "Mom, you deserve a partner who doesn't treat our name like trash. Trevor might find that first, and that's okay. Some things skip a child." Her words were bittersweet, but they stitched me to something steadier. Lineage, worth, choice. And then came Ashley. I ran into her at the grocery store, of all places. She wasn't combative this time. Her eyes were softer, carrying something close to shame. "Hey, Danny." She shuffled a bag of apples. "Look, I owe you an apology. I called you controlling. But watching Jason these past weeks, he's not taking any accountability. He just keeps saying you're crazy for throwing away money. But maybe you're not crazy. Maybe you just have standards." I let her words hang. She wasn't used to silence not being hostile. "My husband took my name seriously," she added quietly. "We hyphenated. It was important to both of us. Jason never even tried." I nodded. "No, he didn't." She exhaled, relief flickering. "Megan's sick of him too. He's been living there rent-free, eating their food, complaining nonstop." Her boyfriend asked when he's leaving. The image made me almost laugh. Jason, king of appearances, couch surfing in his ex's house, his pride bleeding out like a slow leak. By Thursday, the apartment felt different. His things were mostly gone. The slam of the door wasn't a fight this time, it was finality. And for the first time in months, I breathed without checking if someone was watching me do it. The storm hadn't passed yet, but the sky was starting to clear. The storm's aftermath wasn't silence. It was paperwork, numbers, whispers, and the taste of consequences Jason couldn't swallow. I heard through Ashley first. Jason had gone crawling back to his parents' house after Megan finally snapped. Apparently, he'd been sleeping on her couch, emptying her fridge, and sulking through her boyfriend's Netflix queue. She finally told him to pack up, Ashley said. He called Mom in tears. I almost felt bad. Almost. Jason tried to climb out of the hole the same way he'd dug it, with appearances. He attempted to sell the dream he'd already lost. The tailored suit he had bragged about buying for the wedding? He listed it online for $3,000. Best offer? $800. He took it. The binder full of plans ended up in the recycling bin. But the real gut punch came courtesy of Brittany's new boyfriend. Ironically, the plus one Jason had fought so hard to include. He's a financial advisor. He ran the numbers like an autopsy. Jason's salary, $42,000. Sporadic hours, no savings left. My salary, $95,000. My savings, $32,000 before the deposits. Jason's debt, $18,000 in student loans, interest bleeding like a wound. The advisor had laid it bare. Jason fumbled a winning lottery ticket over pride and a name. When Ashley told me, she smirked. He blocked the guy on everything. Diane texted me later, just one line. Sometimes the only cure for entitlement is consequence. Meanwhile, my own life grew quieter, steadier. I cooked dinners for one and found I liked the silence. My grandmother's lasagna recipe, the one Jason had once dismissed as too traditional, tasted richer when no one mocked it. And then there was Graham. We met at a work conference. Nothing cinematic, no spilled coffee, no instant spark. Just a conversation about policy that became a lunch, then a slow walk through the city. When he smiled, it wasn't performance. It was invitation. Over coffee one afternoon, he admitted, almost shy, I've always pictured taking my wife's last name, or sharing one. Feels like building something together. I nearly laughed into my cup. Not because it was funny, but because it was so simple. Respect, without an argument. Unity, without contracts. We're moving slow, very slow, but for the first time, I don't feel like I'm being auditioned for someone else's play. Last week, Trevor got engaged. Mom gave him the heirloom ring. His fiancée posted on social media. Can't wait to officially become a Morrison. I saw Jason's comment before he deleted it. Congratulations. Cherish each other. Trevor's fiancée replied, Thanks, I'm so proud to be a Morrison. And just like that, Jason's words vanished, deleted by his own hand, like a line in a script cut before the scene was finished. Some lessons are expensive. Mine cost $11,600. But ignorance costs more. Jason chose his name over us. That was his right. I chose respect over settling. That was mine. And if I had to do it all again, even if it cost me another $11,600, I would. Because some endings are the real beginning.